Have you ever felt a chill so cold it freezes you from the inside out? That sense that you're not alone, even when you are. This is the story of a drive that changed one woman's life forever. The year was 2003. Mara Collins, a 20-year-old college student from Asheville, North Carolina, was navigating the winding roads of the Blue Ridge Highway. It was one of those classic Appalachian evenings where the fog rolls in thick and fast, clinging to the ancient trees like a shroud. Mara was heading to visit her cousin, a routine drive she'd made dozens of times. But tonight was different. As she rounded a sharp bend, red and blue lights sliced through the dense fog ahead. Traffic slowed to a crawl, then stopped completely. Mara craned her neck, trying to see what was happening. As cars slowly began to move again, the source of the delay became horrifyingly clear. A small SUV was overturned, crumpled against the guardrail like a discarded soda can. Emergency crews were swarming the scene, their movements urgent and grim. As Mara drove past the wreckage, a cold, prickly sensation crawled up her spine. It was a primal fear, a deep-seated warning that something was terribly, fundamentally wrong. She gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles turning white, and tried to shake off the feeling. She told herself it was just the shock of seeing such a bad accident. But then, she heard it. A soft, airy exhale right beside her. Mara's head snapped to the right. A woman was sitting in her passenger seat, just sitting there. Mara's heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat in the sudden, deafening silence of the car. The woman looked like an ordinary office worker, maybe in her late 30s. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. A few strands stuck to her forehead. She wore navy slacks and a simple blouse, now smudged with dirt. But it was her eyes that held Mara captive. They were wide with a panic so profound, so raw, it was almost animalistic. The woman's hand was clutching at her chest, right where a seatbelt should have been, her fingers grasping at empty air. "Where am I?" The woman gasped, her voice thin and reedy. She looked around the car, at the foggy road outside, her expression one of utter bewilderment, as if she'd been teleported from another dimension. "Who are you?" Mara's mind went blank. Every instinct screamed at her to floor the gas, to get away. But she was frozen, pinned by the woman's desperate gaze. After a moment that felt like an eternity, she managed to find her voice, though it came out as a strained whisper. "It's okay, you're safe. My name is Mara." The woman didn't seem to hear her. Her eyes dropped to her own hands, which were trembling uncontrollably in her lap. She stared at them as if they belonged to a stranger. That's when Mara noticed it. Something impossible. The woman was sitting right next to the passenger side window, but her reflection wasn't there. The glass showed only the dark, misty trees rushing by. A wave of nausea washed over Mara. A sickening, terrifying puzzle piece clicked into place. The overturned SUV, the feeling of dread, the body she'd glimpsed them pulling from the wreck. It was her. The woman sitting next to her. Mara swallowed hard, the sound loud in the tense silence. She had to say something. She couldn't just sit there, taking a shaky breath. She spoke as gently as she could. I think you were in an accident. And now, you're here with me." The woman's head snapped up, her eyes filled with tears. "No," she whispered, shaking her head violently. No, that's not possible. I have to get home. My daughter, she's waiting for me. I can't be dead. I can't be." Her voice broke into a heart-wrenching sob, a sound of pure anguish that seemed to echo in the small space of the car. Mara fought the urge to break down with her. She wanted to scream, to cry, to slam on the brakes and run, but she couldn't. She couldn't leave this lost soul alone in her terror. At that moment, the temperature inside the car plummeted. Mara's breath plumed in front of her face, and delicate patterns of frost began to creep across the edges of the windshield, feathering inward from the glass. The air grew heavy, thick with a sorrow that was almost suffocating. They drove on in silence. The only sounds the hum of the tires on the wet pavement and the woman's quiet, desperate sobs. The fog began to thin as they rounded another curve in the highway. The dense wall of trees suddenly parted, revealing a breathtaking vista. The sun was setting, casting a brilliant, almost heavenly golden light across the peaks and valleys of the Blue Ridge Mountains. That warm, golden light spilled into the car, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air and washing over the woman in the passenger seat. Her sobbing soft, then stopped. Slowly, she turned her head, her gaze drawn toward the spectacular sunset. The sheer panic in her eyes began to fade, replaced by a sense of calm, of weary acceptance. A faint, heartbreakingly sad smile touched her lips. She turned back to Mara, her eyes clear for the first time. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible, "for not letting me be alone." And in the space of a single blink, she was gone. The passenger seat was empty. The crushing cold vanished, and the car's interior returned to its normal temperature. The frost on the windshield melted away as if it had never been there. Mara slammed on the brakes, the car screeching to a halt in the middle of the empty road. She sat there, gasping for air, her body trembling violently. The silence was absolute. Had she imagined it all? A hallucination brought on by shock and the eerie fog? She had to have. It was the only logical explanation. She repeated it to herself over and over as she finally put the car in gear and drove the rest of the way to her cousin's house, her mind numb. She tried to forget. She pushed the memory down, convincing herself it was a waking nightmare. But 3 days later, the story was on the local news. A report on the fatal accident on the Blue Ridge Highway. And then they showed a photo of the victim. Mara's blood ran cold. It was her, the same messy ponytail, the same weary expression, the same woman who had sat beside her, filled with terror and sorrow, before finding peace in the sunset. It was real. All of it. Mara Collins never drove that stretch of the Blue Ridge Highway again, and to this day, she carries the memory of her phantom passenger. A chilling reminder that sometimes, the barrier between our world and the next is as thin as a pane of glass. What do you think? Was Mara's mind playing tricks on her? Or did she truly give a lost soul its final ride? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoy stories that explore the unexplained, make sure to subscribe for more.